My name is Lindsay Young, and I am the Alumni Engagement Manager. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some facts about your alumni network, and then move into a section on how to connect with your alumni network using the LinkedIn Alumni tool. So, just a bit on terminology. So we have alumnus, which is the male singular form of the word, alumna for females, and alumni is all of you fine folk. Just over 205,000 people have graduated from Durham University since 832, so you are joining a very large community. And of that 205,000, about 102,000 are currently on LinkedIn, so there is a great Durham presence on LinkedIn, so it is an excellent tool for finding and connecting with Durham graduates around the world. So there's a little bit on where Durham graduates are in the world. You can see that 98,000 are currently in the United Kingdom. Our next largest alumni population is China, the USA, Germany, Hong Kong, and France. Italy, India, Greece, and Canada make up our top 10. And Australia, Spain, Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, Switzerland, Ireland, and the Netherlands make up our top 20. So just you can see from this list of countries that Durham graduates are indeed all over the world, and much beyond this list as well too. I think we have 154 countries where we have Durham graduates present. So no matter where you end up in terms of your employment or for travel, as you're out exploring the world, as you go through your life and through your career, you should be able to find a Durham graduate near you somewhere. So it is a very, very small world, and there are quite a few of us. So keep your eyes peeled as you move around the world, as you go through your life, for connecting with that Durham alumni community. So more about what we do and where we are. So if these charts are actually taken from LinkedIn, we'll move on to some of those stats in just a second here. But so looking at what Durham graduates do, what they studied, you can see economics, mathematics, history, law, geography, physics, that's business administration, political science and government, chemistry, and psychology are our sort of top subjects that Durham graduates studied. In terms of what they do, business development is one of the top employers, followed closely by education. So we have quite a few Durham graduates who stay in education. That's often higher education, but also secondary and primary education as well too. So Durham graduates go on to shape young minds around the world, which is really exciting. We also do operations, finance, research, media and communications, community social services, information technology, engineering, and sales. And the list goes on. So you can, if you play around with the LinkedIn alumni tool, you can see this chart and have a little play and just see the list of employers go on and on. So there really are no limits in terms of what Durham graduates go on to do in terms of employment. And for the companies they work at, look, we've got quite a few at Durham University, people like myself, quite a few of my colleagues who are Durham graduates who loved it so much that we didn't want to leave. And Durham continues to employ graduates in research posts, academic positions, professional services. So we have a nice presence of Durham grads in the university. I'm sure you're not going to be surprised to see the big four, so PwC, EY, Deloitte, KPMG, in the top employers of Durham graduates. Also HSBC, Accenture, JP Morgan are also top employers for Durham graduates, giving you some ideas on what you might like to do if you haven't already got a job lined up. Okay, so now you know a little bit about Durham graduates, where we are in the world, what we studied, what we do for a living, which type of companies we work for. I'd like now to transition to actually using the LinkedIn alumni tools to find and connect with other Durham graduates, no matter where you are in the world. Great, so this is my LinkedIn account. I just have a free normal LinkedIn account, so the same as any type of account that you can apply for, and you just have to log in and set yourself up. Our career service, Durham University Career Service, do a great job on setting up your LinkedIn profile to make sure you're ticking all the right boxes and that you're saying all the right things to help attract future employers or future employees if you're at that when you get that point in your career. So there's some really great advice out there on making sure your LinkedIn profile says and does all the right things in terms of showcasing your talent and ability. So you'll log into LinkedIn, you'll get a home screen that looks a little bit like this. Our first step is actually to go and visit Durham University's official page. Go to the page. I'm actually an administrator on this page, so there's going to be a little extra step here where we view as member, so you won't have to do that, I don't think. So here we are. This is Durham University's page. You can find out the latest news about what's going on at the uni. Some really exciting stuff in the news. We're doing some cool research in terms of COVID, so it's worth having a little, following this page, checking back in, seeing what's up, what we're up to. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see this little box, alumni. And so this will get you access to the alumni tool. So if we click that, it takes us to this lovely page. And so we can see that we currently have 106,684 alumni, people who have Durham University or having studied at Durham University on their LinkedIn profile. So this gives you some of these charts I had up earlier. So if we have a look, we can see, oh, look, where people live. So they have 80,000 of their LinkedIn members is living in the United Kingdom. So our alumni database is a little bit more than that, but obviously there's people out there who don't have LinkedIn accounts, which is totally fine. You can see some of the other employers, like we got to JP Morgan on the slides I put up earlier, but we also got, Goldman Sachs and Alan Novery, Morgan Stanley, Google, McKinsey, as a few others there. And then if we click this little next button, we can go and see some of those business development, like what they do, what they studied, type charts. And this information will change depending on the day. So depending on what people have on their profiles. So I know I think when I ran this charts earlier, economics was the #1 thing that Durham graduates studied, and now it's showing as history, then economics. So it is worth kind of keeping an eye on this, checking up on this, and searching again if the first time you don't find someone looking for. So how do we use this to find different alumni? Well, we can use a keyword search. So, I mean, for example, maybe you've got a job interview coming up at, say, KPMG in London. So we could go, let's do London. We can click London there. And we can click KPMG. And then if you scan down to the bottom of the page, you'll start to get alumni who have those items in their criteria, so on their LinkedIn profile. So you can start to see people's names, how you're connected to them. So you can see I've got quite a few second connections here, or shared connections. So we've got 8 shared connections with this person here. And so it's a really great little tool for finding people. And that's a really great question. So it could be that you've relocated, you're in a new city and you're looking to expand your network, or you've got a job interview coming up and you'd like to talk to somebody who maybe has been through that process. So for example, if you had a job interview coming up for KPMG, you might want to have a look and just see if there's anybody doing their graduate program, maybe who started up last year, who will be really close to that process and who'll be able to maybe give you some advice. I mean, you do need to be a little bit outgoing, so we can find people here, and you can connect with them. Always add a note. So I could be like, for Ryan here, I'd be like, dear Ryan, I see you went to Durham and that you're working at KPMG. I'm new to London, and I'd love to ask you some questions about your experience. We give 5 minutes for a Zoom call or an old-fashioned telephone call. Or, if we weren't social distancing, maybe you'd want to invite him for a coffee, an offer to pay type of thing, and just ask him some questions. Most of the time, alumni are really generous with their time. If you ask that question correctly, like people want to help you, as a general rule. And really, the worst thing they can say is no, or they ignore you. And so don't get your feelings too hurt. I would send out 3 to 5 different messages. And here's where the alumni team can really help you with this process. So if you have this, okay, I'm looking for, or I've got a job interview coming up at a law firm in Singapore, Lindsay, can you look at the alumni community there and see if we've got anybody working for that company? Or do we have any alumni in Singapore who could talk to me about business culture, or what job interview techniques, or if there's anything different in that area that I need to bear in mind when I'm going in for that interview. And we can have a look in the alumni database and try and help you out with making some connections. It's really good if you can start to get comfortable at doing this on your own, though, using this tool to find people. Let's do one other example. So we've been picked on London and KPMG. So we'll just clear our search criteria, clear all. Okay, let's try one other example. How about Singapore? Because I mentioned it earlier. So if we go add and we type in Singapore, there it is. You can click it. And so maybe you want to pick law as well. So I know I said, so what they studied law. We don't necessarily want people who study law, because lots of people who study law don't necessarily go on to work in the law field. So however, you might want people who work in the legal profession. So you can click legal, what they do. And there we go. And then we'll get our alumni at the bottom of the page, and see who they are. So you can click on their profiles. Sorry, Yuki-chan, picking on you. And you can have a little look and just, read about them, find out a little bit more about them, and just try and work out whether you think they'll be able to help you with whatever your question is. It's worth doing a bit of research. Chances are, yes, they will see that you've been looking at your profile. You can turn that feature off on LinkedIn. For me, in terms of what I do in my job, I kind of like alumni to know that I've been on their profile. It's usually I think it's a bit of a kudos that if I'm checking you out, it means I think that you're doing all right. And chances are another alumnus, or perhaps student wants to connect with you. So if you see me on your profile, take it as like a little dip of the hat that I think you're doing something really well and excellent work. And so there we are. It's a really, really simple tool to use, easy to find from the Durham University page. You can search, again, geography, what they studied, where they work, what they do. And it's a really great way to make new alumni connections. So just a little bit more information about sending out those connection requests and sending a little note, introducing yourself, asking people to connect, asking people advice. Just personally, I tend to say no to sort of generic connection requests. So I've got a little spam with a strike through there. So nobody likes spam. Nobody likes their time wasted. So, be really sensitive when you're reaching out to people that you don't want to waste their time. I would always acknowledge the fact that they're probably very busy, and that, you'd be grateful for any time that they could offer to you, and that you don't plan to take up loads of their time anyways. It's always good to have a little bit of a strategy in your connection. I got a little meme on here. So don't ever accept every request on LinkedIn. But when I do, we have connections in common, appear to be real accounts, work in my industry and aren't recruiters. So this is back to that earlier point I made about setting up your profile. So making sure you've got a non-creepy LinkedIn profile picture is super important. Showing that you're from Durham in your education sector, so that if you're reaching out to other Durham people, they can see that you have that in common. And then finding good connections, so people you're already connected with, and stuff you have in common, so you've got mutual common ground when you're reaching out to new people. And so approaching alumni, it's good to have, again, like that, I've now said it 3 times, making sure your profile's up to date, looks good, have a non-generic headline. You can also join some of the university alumni groups. We've got a general group for all Durham grads. We've got some subject-specific groups. So if you've studied computer science, you want to connect with computer science alumni, entrepreneurs, real estate. We've got some geographical groups. We've got, Durham alumni in London, Durham alumni in China, Durham alumni in America as well. So there's quite a few geographical groups that you can join, which will make you, I think, third-degree connections with everybody else in that group. And then just really work on your introduction. If you sort of send those 3 to 5 messages out and say only one person gets back, it might be worth going back and taking a look, seeing what you're saying, keeping it super short. Try and fit it in a tweet, maybe not necessarily 250 characters, but no more than sort of 3 lines, I would say. And I've got sort of 5 P's here to help guide you on that. So personal, pertinent, polite, professional, and praiseful. So you can open up with, dear so-and-so, my name is Lindsay Young. I studied international relations at Durham in 2008 at UCNF College. I can see that you're working at KPMG now, and I can see that we were both at the same college, something like that. I'm really interested in hearing about your career journey because I've got some similar goals myself. I wonder if you might have 5 minutes to have a quick Zoom call or old-fashioned telephone call with me, just so I can ask you about your Durham story and your career journey. And then, sincerely yours, Lindsay, and sign it off there. So again, polite, praiseful, professional, pertinent, and personal. And this is going back to making new connections. Really, what is the worst can happen? They say no. So what? Like, again, don't get your feelings hurt. People are busy. Sometimes people don't see it. Me personally, I have my email notifications turned off on LinkedIn because I found I was getting too many messages. So sometimes I do miss stuff. So apologies if you ever do reach out to me through LinkedIn. I do try to keep on top of it, but occasionally I miss stuff. And give other people the benefit of the doubt too. They might be busy. They might not have time to speak to you. But generally, like I said, people are really generous with their time. If you say you're from Durham and you have a genuine question and you're not going to ask them for an internship or a job, in your first paragraph, then people will share their advice with you, share their knowledge with you. So it's definitely worth using this tool to connect with alumni around the world.